They brutally killed her entire family. She mourned and mourned till she located killers of her family. At that very moment, she decided it is now turn of the killers to mourn, but with extreme pain. Welcome back to Paramount Recapped. I don't have many subscribers, but your single comment is a ray of hope to motivate me. It's been 3 long, miserable years since Stephanie Patrick's whole world crashed, literally. One tragic flight took away her entire family, and ever since that awful day, she's been drowning in a sea of guilt and self-destruction. Life? It doesn't feel like it's worth much anymore. These days, she spends most of her time numbing the pain with drugs and losing herself in meaningless encounters, working out of a shady London brothel under the name Lisa. One day, while working, she gets called to another room for a client. She expects the usual, but the man inside doesn't want anything like that. He just wants to talk. His name? Keith Proctor. She tries to keep it surface level and tells him she's Lisa, but Keith? He's already ahead of the game. He knows exactly who she really is, and he knows about the crash that ripped her life apart. Turns out, Keith's a journalist. Not just any journalist, either. He's been digging around and found something huge. According to him, that plane crash wasn't some tragic accident. It was a bombing. And the guy who made it happen? He's right there in London. Stephanie's brain is in overload. She's freaked out, overwhelmed, and bolts from the room. But before she leaves, she notices Keith dropped his business card. She pockets it and heads home. That night, haunted by Keith's words, she plays a voicemail her mom left her, something to calm her nerves. But the weight of it all crushes her, and she falls back into old habits, getting high just to shut everything off. But the more she tries to forget, the louder Keith's warning echoes in her mind. Eventually, she picks up the phone and calls him. Keith shows up later, and though she's unsure about everything, she agrees to go with him. He takes her back to his apartment, where she notices he's got a whole room full of photos, articles, and reports pinned to the walls. Basically a shrine to the plane crash victims, including her family. It's a lot to take in. She passes out cold, unable to handle it. When she wakes up on his couch, she's ready to leave, but something stops her. She looks at the photos, faces of people who are on that doomed flight, and she feels something shift. She's been running from the pain for years, but now she stares it right in the face. Later, Keith shares what he knows. There's a guy named Raza. He's the bomb maker, and he's still out and about, walking free. The authorities? They're covering everything up. Keith says all this info came from someone who used to be in intelligence, someone who leaked it all to him. Stephanie's not sure whether to feel grateful or angry. Part of her wishes Keith never dragged her into this. But another part of her knows this is her shot at some kind of closure. That night, she stays at Keith's place. She pokes around his stuff and finds something interesting. The address of the source who gave Keith the info, plus Raza's file. The dude isn't some faceless terrorist in a cave. He's a student at a nearby college. That hits her hard. This man ruined her life, and he's just chilling in lecture halls? The next morning, she's ready for answers. She asks Keith directly about his source, but he brushes her off, telling her to forget about it. She'd never find him anyway. He gives her some cash and the apartment keys before heading out. But Stephanie's mind is already spinning. She's not letting this go. As soon as he's gone, she heads out to a pawn shop and picks up a gun. No more waiting. She tracks Raza down at his college, finds him sitting alone at a table, and takes a seat across from him. Her hand hovers over the gun under the table. He looks up, confused, and asks if he knows her. She freezes. Her finger never moves. He gets up and walks off. Just like that. She couldn't do it. Panicked, she realizes her bag's gone, the one with all Keith's notes. She races back to his apartment, but it's too late. The place is trashed, the door wide open, and in the bathroom, Keith is dead. A bullet right through the head. She stands there, paralyzed, realizing her actions just got an innocent man killed. With nowhere to go and no one left, she remembers the address from Keith's files. It's somewhere deep in Scotland. She hops on a bus, but it only takes her so far. She hikes the rest of the way through cold and rain, following the GPS until a small cottage finally comes into view. She knocks, hoping for help, but what she gets is a beatdown. A man tackles her, disarms her, and tosses her into a shed like she's some kind of threat. He searches her, takes all her stuff, and locks her inside. Next day, the guy shows up. He's angry, wants answers. Who sent her? Why is she here? Stephanie just says she wants help finding Raza and ending this once and for all. The man, unimpressed, tells her she's messed things up real bad by going after Raza herself. And now, he's got problems of his own because of her. Days pass, and she's stuck in that shed with nothing but her own thoughts. But she holds on, clinging to the memory of her family. Eventually, the man returns with food and water. His name's Lane Boyd, used to be MI6. Now he's off the grid. Stephanie begs for his help. She wants to be ready. She wants revenge. Lane's skeptical, but finally gives in, kinda. He tosses her some boots and tells her to start running. And run she does, for like 5 seconds before she's out of breath. Lane drags her the rest of the way, unimpressed. He pushes her harder. Next challenge? Swim across a freezing cold lake. Stephanie hesitates, but she dives in. It's brutal, but she makes it. Shivering, soaked, and barely standing, she tells Lane she's ready for more. She has nothing left to lose. One night, she finally opens up about the guilt that's eating her alive. She was supposed to be on that plane too, but she changed her mind at the last second. She feels like she cheated death while her family didn't. That's when Lane opens up too. Raza? Just a pawn. The real target behind the bombing was a reformist named Abdul, and it was his dad, Solon, who hired Keith to investigate it all. The bombing was ordered by a radical preacher and carried out by someone even more dangerous. Codename U-17. If Stephanie wants real revenge, she's gonna have to take out the whole chain of command. She's in, all the way. Lane trains her day in and day out. Combat, strategy, weapons. Eventually, he gives her a new identity, Petra, a killer whose body was never found. From here on out, that's who she is. One evening over dinner, she asks Lane to teach her how to fight. He tells her bluntly, go for the eyes, throat, or groin. That's it. She's annoyed. Is that all he thinks she's capable of? She presses harder, wanting a real fight. Lane surprises her by attacking out of nowhere, forcing her to defend herself. She throws a few weak punches, he barely reacts. She grabs a knife, ready to show him she's serious. But Lane, like a ghost, disarms her in seconds, then tosses the knife back to her. He's calm, like it's just another Tuesday. He even says she's doing well. But now comes the final test. Lane tosses her a gun and tells her to shoot him. Yep, right at him. Don't worry though, he's got a bulletproof vest on. Still, Stephanie hesitates. Pulling the trigger at someone, even with protection, messes with your head. But she closes her eyes, thinks back to all her training, and finally does it. Hits him square on. Lane doesn't even flinch, just give her a nod. She's ready. On the drive from their hideout, Lane tells her what's next. Their old buddy Raza is back at it again, cooking up another deadly device, this time for U-17. They need to stop it before it gets used. He tells her they're going to Madrid. There, she'll find someone named Sarah, an info dealer who knows where the bad guys hide. The goal? Make Sarah believe she's Petra, the assassin she's been impersonating, and use him to get close to U-17. Only problem? They've got no cash to back this mission. Stephanie, thinking fast, suggests they pay a visit to Solon, the same man who once funded Keith's digging. They head to England, and she breaks into Solon's mansion like a boss. Gun in hand, she corners him, demanding he listen. She tells him Keith didn't run off with his money. He was murdered. She wants revenge for him, and she needs funding. Solon? Not interested. He wants her out of his house. But then his wife walks in, hears the whole thing, and asks what Stephanie plans to do. Steph looks her in the eye and says, I'm gonna kill everyone involved. That's all the wife needs to hear. She agrees to fund the mission. Next stop, Madrid. New city, new look. Stephanie dyes her hair and fully becomes Petra. Lane gives her her first target, Eric Lehman, a black market arms dealer. He's the guy who helped smuggle the bomb onto the plane. Sarah's the only one who can find him, so she gets in touch. Pretending to be Petra, she calls Sarah and asks for Lehman's location. Sarah doesn't buy it right away, tells her to meet in person the next day if she's for real. She shows up at the spot. Sarah, a slick operator, wants 200 grand in exchange for Lehman's location. He gives her what she needs and tells her to enjoy herself. Nice, right? Stephanie finds Lehman in his lair. She has him dead to rights, but her hand won't move. The guy's old, sitting there like he's not a threat. Then boom, he attacks. Out of nowhere, the dude goes full psycho and starts tossing her around like a rag doll. She tries to fight back, but he gets her in a hold and pulls out a needle, poison-tipped. As he's trying to inject her, he suddenly starts gasping for air. His oxygen tank's acting up. Stephanie grabs him with all the strength she has, stopping him from reaching his mask. He dies right there. She wraps up her bleeding hand, grabs the poison, and bolts just as another guy walks in. Once she's on the street, things go nuts. A guy confronts her, but she whips out her gun and jacks his car. More guys show up, including the police, and it's on. A full-blown car chase through the city. She's nearly run off the road multiple times, but somehow keeps control. In a desperate move, she swerves into an oncoming truck, barely escaping while her pursuers crash behind her. She makes it back to Madrid and checks in with Sarah again. He's impressed. Word on the street is Layman's out of the picture, and that makes him believe she really is Petra. He gives her another mission, this time to take out a guy named Guyan. Apparently, Guyan's getting cold feet and might spill info to the feds. That's bad for everyone, especially you, 17. Stephanie reaches out to Lane about it. He says go for it. Guyan is tight with you, 17, and this could get them closer. She takes the job, $2 million this time, and flies to New York. There, she meets Lane again and asks him straight up what happened to the real Petra. Lane finally opens up. Petra killed someone he knew, a fellow MI6 agent. He was told not to act, but he took matters into his own hands and killed her. Stephanie figures it out. Petra had been sent by the CIA to kill you, 17, before the bombing happened. And the MI6 agent she killed? Lane's wife. Oof, they don't talk about it anymore. It's mission time. Stephanie, in disguise, goes to Guyan's hotel. She plays the part of a high-end escort and gets sent up to his suite. Once inside, he's ready to get down to business, but she slips into the bathroom to prep her weapon. Blade ready, she heads out to finish the job. Just as she's about to cut his throat, Guyan begs for his life. Says he's got kids. That hesitation hits her hard. She leaves the room and finds Lane waiting. Turns out, she couldn't go through with it. As they watch Guyan being taken away by his own security, a huge explosion takes out the Jeep, and everyone in it. Turns out his family was in there too. That destroys her emotionally. She decides she's done taking orders from Lane. From now on, she's doing things her way. She visits Sarah's place and tells him she wants to work directly with him now. While there, she gets a call from Lane. You, 17, is using Sarah to clean up anyone connected to the bombings, and Sarah's next. Stephanie tells Sarah what's coming, and that's when he drops the bombshell. Raza is you, 17, the very man behind everything. Stephanie follows Raza to an apartment, where he's busy prepping explosives with a bunch of others. She sneaks in with her gun drawn, but ends up walking right into a trap. A shootout kicks off. Raza runs. She chases. He jumps onto a packed city bus, trying to vanish. She almost loses him but spots him near the back, trying to sneak off. She shoves her gun into his back and demands the detonator. He won't budge, so she pulls the gun to his head and orders everyone off the bus. A fight breaks out. Raza pulls a blade, but she handles it, disarms him, stabs him in the leg. Then it hits her, the bomb's already set. He armed the bus. As she questions him about her family, he confesses something wild. Sarah was the one who gave the order. He was just the tool. Stephanie jumps off just in time before the whole bus goes boom, killing Raza in the blast. She heads back to Sarah's place. No more secrets, no more games. She hugs him, acting like she trusts him. Then, without hesitation, she poisons him. Stands there watching, stone-faced as he dies. Vengeance? Delivered. To wrap things up, she visits Solon's wife and shows her newspaper clippings of Raza and Sarah's deaths. Mission complete, she says. 2 weeks later, Stephanie's out walking the streets when Lane pops out of nowhere and grabs her. He tells her he's back with MI6 now, and because Petra is active again, he's got orders to take her out. Stephanie? She just walks off into the crowd like a ghost. Thanks for hanging out. If you're new around here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more action-packed movie recaps. Catch you in the next one.